Climate change is already altering our seas. Though the effects of environmental changes on fisheries are increasingly being felt, we are only starting to understand the complexities underpinning these. As part of its efforts to build the knowledge needed to support ecosystem-based fisheries management in Europe, SEAwise has worked to better predict these impacts. Ecosystem-based fisheries management is an approach to fisheries management that includes both ecological and social objectives and recognises these as interdependent. We spoke to SEAwise researchers and stakeholders to better understand the management challenges in the biodiverse Western Waters region, which is home to a broad range of stocks and host to several multinational fishing fleets.
I'm Dorletta Garcia. I work in AZTI, a research institute in the Basque Country in the north of Spain. The Western Waters case study can be divided into different areas, the Bay of Biscay and the Celtic Sea. And in terms of management, these are two differentiated areas, even if then we have stocks that are distributed in both areas. Can divide the fleet into two different segments, the demersal fishery and the pelagic fishery. So the demersal fishery is mainly focused on demersal stocks like hake, Miren and monkfish and many others that are caught together. And then we have the pelagic fishery, they target mainly anchovy, sardine, horse mackerel and mackerel. So we know that the seas are warming and that this has an impact on the growth of stocks. And in SEAwise we are investigating how to incorporate this impact into the models we use to provide management advice. For anchovy, we saw in the data that they are now smaller and that the weight at age is lower too. So in SEAwise we have had the opportunity to do some research on that, and anchovy what they have found is that bigger temperature drives the stock to a lower size or lower weight. And in ecosystem-based fisheries management, we acknowledge that the fish population do not live in isolation, but that they interact with other fish populations and all the ecosystem they belong to. So we acknowledge that there are drivers in the ecosystem that really have a significant impact on the development of the stocks.
Our producer organization, OPEGUI, was created in 1987, working to represent our fishermen in Europe and to defend their interest. The fisheries we have, we want to maintain them in good health, and that's why we work a lot with the scientists and to have more knowledge of what is the situation of our fisheries. Main fisheries are the small pelagics like anchovy, also mackerel. Now they are fishing albacore, tuna. And we care a lot to maintain these fisheries in a good situation, working together, developing management plans that can maintain these fisheries in long term in a good situation.
Hi, I'm Jochen Depestele. I'm leading the Western Waters case, and main tasks that I'm working on are preventing impact of the fishery, as well as the effects of climate change on the productivity, the recruitment, growth of mainly demersal fish species. The way that our modeling helps to address the future challenges in the Western Waters and also in the other case studies. That's we found clear correlations between environmental drivers and fish productivity, both recruitment and growth. For anchovy in the Bay of Biscay, for instance, the size of the adult fish particularly is decreasing, and it's up to 25% over the last decades.
Further north in the Celtic and Irish seas, changing environments are already affecting stocks, with signs that the productivity of demersal species like cod and whiting has decreased in response to increased sea temperatures and changes in food availability. This is also the case for Irish sea sole and whiting, though the cause here is less clear. With potential winners and losers across the region's fish populations and related fisheries, on the whole, analysis suggests the impacts of climate change will be stock dependent, with increases for some, decreases for others, while some stocks may remain stable. Under an extreme warming scenario, ecosystem models by SEAwise point to potentially significant reductions in future Celtic sea catches, predicting food web changes and a loss of top predators over the next 40 years, with possible knock-on implications for both commercially important demersal and pelagic species in the region, and for the fleets that rely on these species for their livelihoods.
My name is Patrick Murphy. I am the current CEO of the Irish South and West Fish Producers Organisation. We're a producer organisation and we're based in West Cork in the south of Ireland. So the challenges that we have in the Northwest Waters Basin is the changing environment that we're operating in. So we have changing stocks, water temperatures changing. This has a huge implication on the way that we govern and manage and create a sustainability network around, because everything is interlinked. Climate change is having a huge impact. It's changing the dynamics of fish stocks and their biological nature and their ability to spawn and recreate. One stock in particular, cod, because of its biological nature, isn't spawning, and this is proven scientifically, and we need information from the past and the future to try and make better decision making for the management of these resources. You need an overall system that can look at this and put all the pieces together. And that's where I see the likes of SEAwise coming into the picture here, because it's looking at historical data, different changes and events. It's gathering all the information that you would like to have to make a better and a more informed decision going forward.
Ecosystem-based fisheries management seeks to address fisheries holistically. Alongside the environmental factors affecting fisheries, SEAwise has modelled the environmental impacts of fisheries and looked at their social benefits, tracing catches from boats to communities and wider society in terms of livelihoods and food. To support decision-making which balances the needs of both people and the sea, SEAwise has predicted how these impacts might vary under different management scenarios, according to a range of different modelling techniques. Like fisheries management, predicting the future of fisheries and climate-driven changes is complex, and with greater complexity comes greater uncertainty. However, by shedding light on past and present trends, SEAwise aims to equip both those who fish for a living and those who manage fisheries with the knowledge needed to weather changing seas. We spoke to SEAwise researchers and stakeholders about their hopes for future fisheries management in the region.
To take care of maintaining the ecosystem in a proper way to assure the future of the sector and the fisheries themselves. Also for us it's very important that the scientists themselves can speak in our language.
We need to have the knowledge of fishers in the ecosystem based management, because the humans are also part of the ecosystem. I think it's one of the pillars. I mean, we have biology, we have economics, and we have the humans. So if we don't take into account all this social dimension, we will never achieve this objective, in fact.
My hopes for the fishers of the Northwest Waters, or fishers anywhere, it's their survival. That not only do we look after the rights of the fish and the other animals, but we do the same for our fishermen. And we treat them the same as we treat any other food producer, that we say, well, how can we turn this around? How can we make this a sustainable industry? How can we protect this part of our history, our heritage?
What excites me the most in SEAwise is that the project brings together people from different disciplines, across political boundaries. We are all facing many challenges that we bring together in one coherent approach. I think it's hopeful for the future that we can see how all of these objectives can be met together.
I think it will help us to manage or to give advice in a more efficient way, and I hope that it will contribute to improve the status of our marine ecosystem, so our grandchildren have a better marine ecosystem than what we have now. This is the ultimate goal, but I hope it becomes true.